and welcome to another episode of Cyrils Brettspiele. My name is Nils, in a nutshell edition. Heavy Steam. Greenbrier Games. Yeah, let's talk about this game, and first of all, let's take a look on my table what's going on there. So it's a 2-player, it's technically a 2 to 4 player, but just basically it's a 2-player war game in the steampunk universe about this cool minis here. As you can maybe see, you can lift these arms here. They have arms on this side as well, and weapons. So these cool minis, there are larger ones in there as well, so large and small, and you can use this arms as well. However, you bring these minis on here. You could make a 2 on a 1 when you want here, blah, and then they are rolling and facing each other like this, and they are fighting against each other. There are a couple of cool things in it, like customized dice. You can also pimp up your steampunk robots later on, your machines, by adding some new weapons or other cool stuff here. Another cool weapon, so you can add that. In addition to that, each single of this mechs will have a pilot in here. This symbol here means you bring in a pilot, and this pilot has a special ability for over the course of the game, but it has also a once per game super special ability. Over the course of the game, you can acquire these cards here. Later on, buying these cards, they are always cool and always good. There are start cards in it, but there are also event cards, and there are also terrain cards. All of these cards give you personal special abilities and benefits. However, fighting on this terrain is only one part of the game. Another big, huge part of the game is struggling around with your device, with your Titan. These things are called Titan, these machines, the steam machines. And first of all, you have the name down here, but this is not important. You have this massive Titan here. I show you one of these here with all these cubes on here. Maybe you can hear this cubes. That's not wooden cube. That's a little bit of a plastic material, but the texture is really good. So you have the white, which is steam. You have the damage. You have the shield. And you have this overload cubes here. What you're doing is these cubes are moving around on the board. And I will show you that in a second. But first of all, I will show you when you have your character here. This super helps your handy dandy helper about game phases. First of all, move. If you have cubes in your legs and you can move in phase 1. Then combat. If you have cubes in your weapons, then fire right now. Steam allocation means the steam is rotating. Battle cards acquisition means buying battle cards. You need some steam in the head for this. And then you're going down, determine initiative for the next one, and then pressure release. So let's talk about 2 or 3 things. First of all, whenever one of these cubes come into this exteriors here in the wheels, for an example, you can use these cubes or in the weapons to use actions. Always is either printed on the game itself or here, or when you upgrade your mech on here, how many cubes you need to use this weapon. So you have this attack costs, for an example, 3 steam. You use all your steam, which is in here, and you use it and put it in the boiler pressure to indicate you use it. Then you take the action from the weapon. Same over here. This one needs only 2, so you will take 2 and fill up the boiler pressure over here. Here's another gun, and so on. When you move, you have to pay 4 or 6 to move 1 or twice. So in this case I have only 5 in here. I will take 4. Obviously you only take that when it is your turn. When this is filled up, it goes into the overload, and that could be really nasty, but I explain that in a second. So now when you used all these cubes in the game, then let's say due to fighting, one of these shields here is reduced a little bit. Now it happens with one hand, it's hard. So now what happens is the steam allocation is you go from the exterior. So in here there's right now nothing, so you go up this one. Now you can allocate these ones. You bring 2 in here and 2 in this shields here. Now it goes down from here all the way down here from the repair center. From the arms here it's still full. You can allocate these here, and this one goes in here. They are moving around these lines. Sometimes there's only a 1, so you can move only 1 each single turn. In here, in the head, you can move every single time only 2. You do that with this section as well. Then you take 8 out of here, bring that into the main body area, and 5 out of this pressure box here of the boiler. This one has a maximum as well, but this is not so important in this short in a nutshell video. However, this one is when it comes to a battle, you have to roll the defense dice. You usually start with 4 defense dice. When this is totally blocked, you use this one, you have only 3 dice left for defense. When it's like this, 2, and when it goes into the overload, only 1 indicated here. The blue dice are the defense dice. When it comes to a battle, you roll the attack dice, let's say 4 attack dice. You count up the hits. These are critical hits, this is a normal hit. You roll your defense dice and you subtract critical and things like that. So that would be no hit. If you have a bad roll, if you have it like this, wow, take a look, then you make 1 normal hit and 2 critical hits. When you hit your opponent, you bring in this black damage cubes and start filling up these here. You're rolling a die to determine which area of the mag you hit. This is indicated here, hit location. You roll up just 2d6, blah, it's an 11, and with an 11 you hit this leg here. So that's how you determine where, and then you put in this 3 damage cubes into the leg, which means here, boom. First of all, it will go to the shield here. If there are cubes, you remove the shields. That's how it works. Over the course of the game, the body will fill up with damage cubes, and you can first of all do less actions, and second of all, you will become more and more damaged. When at any point you explode or you can do nothing more, then the game is over and your opponent will win the game. So, as always in the nutshell edition, I'm not talking too much about rules and go not too detailed in the rules. I will talk a little bit about my experiences with that game. Obviously, this is a 2-player war game, 2 people fighting against each other. However, this has not the real feeling of a 2-player game. This has more the feeling of a very slow strategic game. So, moving just 1 space or sometimes even 2 spaces cost a lot of, because 1 movement costs you 4 of these cubes and 2 movements 6, and you get only 5 out of here each round. So that is more or less what you do the whole round, is just 1 movement. And on top of, when you move 6 in here, you always fill up this one here with 6. So it's dangerous. You lose a defense die when you move, even with 4. However, these weapons have interesting things to do. This weapon, for an example, has a range of 0 to 2 max, and with 0 or 1, so in close combat more or less, you roll 6 red dice and make a damage of 6. However, in a range of 2, you only roll 4 damages and you make a damage of 5. So you see, that is a really interesting close combat weapon. There are long ranged weapons like, where do we have one? Obviously this one here is a long range weapon. This rockets. In a close combat you cannot use it, but in a long range you can use it. And so when you acquire these weapons, you have to turn and have to think about, do I really want to stay here and shoot at them? But when they are coming closer, so I mean, maybe you have not super effective weapons. At the end of the day, you can have 3 different weapons, but you can also use those weapon slots for some other cool stuff. You don't have to take weapons in there. You can also have things like that in here with abilities, the gyroscope. Yeah, so this is a little bit more of a tactical battle, and it's also very slow. Again, you move 1 and that takes almost the entire turn, and you have to think about, oh, can now these 2 little ones shoot back because they have weapons? All of that, what they have in weapons, is common knowledge, so you can always double check. But on the other hand, you wanted to get in a good position to shoot. And then on top of that, as a cream on top of that, you have this cards which gives you additional bonuses when you defend, or gives you other additional bonuses. You have to acquire these cards, but again, it's so cool. It's a 2-player tactical war game with a lot of planning ahead, thinking ahead. Yeah, and on the other hand, it's super slow. You have to manage your resources. And this is really interesting on this game. Even if it's a battle game, it feels more like all your game is happen on here. Moving all these cubes, now I'm not correct obviously, moving your cubes around in your machine and try to manage this puzzle, try to manage as best as you can, fill up these spots, try that your boiler is not exploding, that you're not overload yourself, and that you always have enough defense dice to roll and fight back. This management is really interesting. Also, you want to repair at some point the damage cubes. These ones here, you cannot repair all of them, but anyway, so you wanted to do that, but this takes time as well. Everything takes time, and managing and moving around is a huge part of the game. This is more a puzzle that you have to solve. The part of having a tactical battle is one, this is the other big, and that makes this game so unique. I wanted to let you know a little bit of when I was playing with the game. Oh, by the way, I forgot to introduce this little miniatures. You can purchase them via this card, and they are helping you out and shooting a little bit and disturbing the big titans here on the board a little bit. So, and the titan has to decide shoot to kill these little ones and finish them off, which is usually easy, but takes time and steam to do that because they have to fire the weapons, or facing your opponent. So bringing these in are always good. Anyway, what I wanted to say and let you know is, please play that game on a very stable table. Why? When these are all in this box here and you hit the table like this, and you see my table is very stable, but still it shakes a little bit up. But when you do it like this and all the cubes flying around, you will freak out. This is not really helpful. So please never ever hit the table when you are playing heavy steam. Why? I mean, when you relocate all your cubes on your Titan sheet, there's more or less no way to figure that out later on. Heavy Steam from Greenbrier Games, a very interesting variant of a two-player tactical war game with a lot of resource management, which I have never seen before in a game. Maybe you. If so, please send me a comment and let me know which game I should take a closer look in the next time. And yeah, if you have the chance to see that game in your friendly local gaming store or at a convention, try it. Please try it. It's a really interesting game. The texture of the cubes are so good. The quality of the minis is good too. The quality of this card, these paper cards, are not really impressive, but the rest of the game components are really impressive. So please check it out and yeah, play Heavy Steam from Greenbrier Games. See you next time. Cyrils Brettspiele. Bye bye.